Hello, everyone. It's Michael JACO with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. And I'm joined again by, it's been a while, Michelle Fielding. She's lovely. She's got brilliant information. And we always enjoy you here, Michelle. Thanks for coming on again.
Oh, hi Michael. How are you doing? Can't believe it's been 6 months since we last had a chat. Goes really quickly, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. But there's been a lot happening. And a lot we can talk about. I know you've been talking about Elon Musk, one of my favorite subjects, because a lot of people are like, no, Elon's bad. I'm like, I don't think so. So I'm
Mm.
glad there's other people out there that are presenting this information. A couple of weeks ago, I said that the billionaires were going to start to come out, and it looks like they're doing it. Elon, Jack, they're coming, and I know some billionaires are behind the scenes that are doing some great things too.
Yeah, yeah. Because just because people have got a lot of money doesn't mean they're dark people.
Mm,
It's not the amount of money that makes you good or bad.
exactly. So I've met a lot of people that have a lot of money, and then there's people that think that people have a lot of money. The only way they get that money is if they're in cahoots with the baddies. And I don't see that, because I mean, look at President Trump. I think he did a really good job. He's a really good guy, from my
Yeah,
opinion. Some
yeah,
people not so much, but and that's the beauty of this world that we're in right now, because we have all these differing opinions. As long as we can have a conversation. And I think the conversations are starting to have been canceled for quite some time. So that's one of the things I like about Elon and Jack, basically transforming Twitter into possibly something that, could be workable, where we can get that conversation going again.
yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I mean, I'll talk about Jack today in what I've been channeling, but
Hmm.
I mean, at first, I wouldn't have seen that, to be fair. That wouldn't have been something I would have really have realized. And then all of a sudden, this Elon Musk story is coming hourly at the moment. I mean, before I came on, I saw that he's actually buying out Coca-Cola, Elon Musk,
Whoa.
and his plan is to reinsert the original cocaine recipe,
Hmm.
because if it's like, I suppose, in a microdose, it's probably good for you. And he's planning on taking out all the bad sugars and putting in natural fruit sugars. And so, I mean, I've just been learning that today.
Wow.
So, I mean, Musk is on fire right now. He's leading the way. And so, a couple of weeks ago, I would say probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, I started to feel like there was more to Musk than just the man, if you know what I mean. And I was the first thing that sort of came to my mind from a practical point of view was, you cannot make all those products on your own without some kind of infrastructure behind you, some kind of backing. So if we go back to say, if you think about the iPhone and if you think about Apple and Steve Jobs,
Mhm.
you'll remember the days when they used to bring out a new iPhone and you used to have to wait a whole year for the new one, and then you would queue up outside the Apple store to get your phone. And that was just like one innovation, one product per year. And now you've got Musk throwing out things like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. On a Monday, we've got SpaceX, Tuesday, we've got a car, then we've got something else. And it's impossible to do that unless you've got the back office, you've got the infrastructure. So on a practical level, on a business level, I was thinking, how is he doing this? And then over a period of time, I started to feel like he was the front man for something else. So I've channeled around all of that today. And I'll start with Elon Musk, if you like, and we'll
Yeah.
just run through it. And of course, just stop me anytime, and we can discuss it if you feel that you want to. Um, so I'm used to interviewing with Nicholas, and with Nicholas, you just do the whole thing, and then we just talk at the end. But if you want to talk in between, then obviously just say. Um, but obviously, I think that I was talking about Elon Musk 2 years ago in a predictions video, and they said at that point he was going to bring in an uncensored, platform. And then he started becoming quite prominent again around sort of summer last year, when I was talking about the whole Starlink concept.
Mhm.
And people were, worried about, who is Musk? Is he good? Is he bad? So I've been sort of really making a lot of questions around that. And so my first sort of main question was, is Elon Musk a white hat or a black hat? Let's just ask it. Now what they said to me was that he does play both sides, but he doesn't do it in the way that people have been portraying it. They portray it that he's, you can't trust him. But you've got to remember that in business, you've got to know your enemy. So he does it like a strategic move. So when I was in business, one of the things you have to do in corporate and strategic business is you have to do an analysis of your environment, and it's called a SWOT analysis. There are others, but you look at like the strengths and the weaknesses and the opportunities and the threats around you in terms of business. And so if Elon Musk is doing his job correctly, which I think he is, he would obviously be assessing what's going on with his competition. So they were saying he does play both sides strategically so that he can move forward with like his plan. And I said, what is his plan? And they said he has a great plan for humanity and has technological information and designs that can serve the greater good. So then I had this idea probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago that he might actually be leading the White Hats. Is he the leader? Because we kind of assume that Trump is the leader of the White Hats. So I just wanted to ask, where is Musk in this sort of hierarchy?
Mm.
So I said, is Musk leading the White Hats? And they said, Elon Musk is not leading the White Hats, but he is working with them to bring forward technological revolution and evolution. So then I changed the question slightly and said, is Elon Musk an ambassador for the White Hats? And this was a very interesting answer. They said no, because Elon Musk is above that level. He is not their leader, but he is on an even par with the White Hats leader.
Mm.
So depending on how you ask the question, you sometimes get a slightly different answer. So it would seem that he's not leading them, but he is at the same level as whoever is leading them. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, that's very good because when I was in special forces, usually anyone could assume command if the senior guy was removed through combat action or something. The next person could stand up and take over, or even the most junior person could stand up and take over. So I think once you have the overall mission, which he seems to have, he starts to develop and starts to push forward in plans, that they all have. And he's kind of independent, but he's still part of the overall group. And maybe, at some points running point and some points pulling back and letting somebody else, take over and step up and get the limelight. So
Yeah.
that seems logical and
Yeah,
probably something's happening. Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's definitely a team of people. I can see them.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely feel like Musk is someone that this team, they go to him and they ask him, not necessarily his permission, but they're working with him and they respect what he says. And then it's almost like he then becomes the front man, like Steve Jobs, for everything that's going on behind. He's like the front man. And it's a perfect strategy because if anybody like a Democrat or Republican tried to do these things, it would all become political.
Mm.
But by allowing somebody like Elon Musk to come forward and be the front man, it keeps all that politics, well, not out of it, but it keeps it more neutral. It can't be blamed on politics as such. It can't be blamed on, you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, because he's actually apolitical and he doesn't care who's in control as long as he can get his technologies through. And obviously, when I say get them through, he doesn't care about politics. They've explained to me that he only cares about the good that he can do with the technology that he's bringing through, if that makes sense. He doesn't care who's signing it off. He doesn't care whether you're left or right. He just cares about the fairness of who's signing it off and why they might not be signing it off and those reasons. But it's not really because he's political in either direction.
Yeah, and I think that plays into what a lot of people are concerned with as well. Because I just saw someone in the chat. Why does he get to decide? What we want? Can't we decide for ourselves? Well, yeah, of course you can decide, and I think that's part of the quantum, financial system, quantum everything that we're moving into, because that quantum level is basically we're all involved in it. Our consciousness is actually involved in it. So smartphones actually become literally smart, having consciousness in the phone itself, I believe, at some point. So we're going to see a lot of this stuff that can't be, hidden. It can't be, manufactured in a bad way.
Mm.
Someone with evil intent won't be able to come into this system because it will be discovered instantaneously, because we have that consciousness, and every single device that we're using has that quantum level consciousness as well.
It's not so much that he gets to decide. I think I've probably maybe put that out the wrong way. It's more that he's in a team of people
Right.
and they respect what he has to say
Mm-hmm.
because he's on an even par with them. So it's not like he's pushing people out the way and saying, we're going to do it this way, this is what we're going to do. Don't actually feel that's his personality at all anyway. Whether we were talking about white hats or anything, I don't feel that that's how he works. I feel like he works with people in a very fair way. And, even though he's determined, which is what you need in a leader, leaders do have to have certain skills in order to lead.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that he's autocratic. He's not like that at all. I think he involves others.
Beautiful.
So the way that the ideas were then sort of coming to me in my visions was I was wondering, have the military put him as their front man? Because that then brings through the technologies that have been hidden in an easier way. They can bring them through Musk. So the question I said to them was, is Elon Musk the face or the front man for the military? And what they said was that Elon Musk is working with the military to bring out technologies that have been hidden from humanity for hundreds and thousands of years. And I said, what technologies are they? And they said, new forms of healing through frequency, vibration, and sound. New transport, which is cheaper, cleaner, faster, and safer. And new communication systems, which are secure and encrypted for us, the people. And I said, is social media included in these sort of new communications? When I wrote this, by the way, he hadn't bought Twitter yet. These notes are a few weeks old. And they said at this point, he wasn't interested in social media platforms initially, but now he's seeing how the freedoms of speech are being curtailed. He's joined forces with other super tech individuals, and they're devising a plan to bring free speech platforms back to the people. And I had a little kind of vision earlier, or a moment where I'm thinking, people think he's going to buy Facebook. I actually think they're already in Facebook. They're already in there doing it. But it might come out that someone buys Facebook or something. They might say something like that in a few more weeks. But I think actually they're already in there doing that. And I said, like, who are these super tech individuals? Who are they? I said, is it Julian Assange? And they said, yes. I said, is it Edward Snowden? And they said, partially. And they said the other people are military intelligence. Now, the interesting thing about Edward Snowden, I don't know if you could explain in a little while if you know anything about him, but my only understanding really about Edward Snowden was that he was in the CIA, and as far as I understand, about 10 or 15 years ago, he was a whistleblower, and I think he had to run from the USA, and I think he's now a citizen in Russia. But 2 years ago, they told me that he was working with Trump and Julian Assange, and they were putting together this new social platform. Now, I hadn't heard about Edward Snowden for years. And then last week, probably not even that long ago, a couple of days ago, I saw him on a YouTube where he was talking about the Starlink system that I've been talking about for some months, where he was saying that we need like a centralized system above us, but that at the user level, it needs to be encrypted. And he's actually the first person I've heard openly speaking about that, other than maybe other people on these platforms. And even then, I don't think I've heard very many people talking about that. So for Edward Snowden to now be on YouTube actively promoting that idea, that makes me think that what they're talking about here with other super tech people working with Musk, I think he could well be involved. So do you know anything about Edward Snowden?
Yeah, Snowden was a CIA security guy that was working in IT, and that he discovered some things that were troubling as far as, like, they were basically going into all of our data systems,
Yeah,
Facebook, our phones and so forth, and gathering data on all of us. And
yeah,
then he basically took that information and tried to leave with it. They tracked him. They almost got him several times, but eventually he was able to go to Russia and get asylum there. So
yeah,
then he started to disclose, all the information that he had. That basically, after we had one of our senior people in the intelligence community say, "Oh, no, 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 we don't look at anyone's personal data," and then he came out with information. Well, yes, actually, you do, and you do. So that kind of blew things up. So that's pretty much where he's at, and I think that you're right as far as like the information that all these gentlemen are collaborating to create a new system.
yeah,
Maybe the Trump social, the social Truth Social was part of that new wave of consciousness that's starting to come out. The I know that Elon had talked about how Twitter had basically suppressed technologies that could have been utilized, and that Facebook had suppressed technologies that could be utilized. Well, I know that the CIA, because when I worked for the CIA, they told us that Facebook was basically CIA run. So
yeah.
there's all these different technologies that, like you're talking about, are available. They have been available for a very, very long time, and Elon Musk is talking about bringing them out. So that's pretty impressive.
I actually got banned from Facebook in 2018
Mm,
before all this story unfolded, because
wow.
I had stood up for um Zuckerberg. He was in court for something, and I had said on my Facebook feed, if you really think that that Zuckerberg is in charge of Facebook and he's not being controlled by the CIA, then you really need to like think again. And I actually got banned, got taken down, and it took me a year to get back on.
Mm,
So that, just because I'd said the CIA were running Facebook and that Zuckerberg was basically their puppet, he was doing as he was told. He wasn't really in charge.
right.
Um,
Good
so
insight. Very good insight.
so that was like even before everybody
Yeah.
started
Before
getting,
truthers, like we know now, truthers are getting
yeah,
shut down everywhere, and there you were
yeah,
in the lead again. Good job.
yeah. Although at that point I didn't realize
Yeah.
why that was happening.
I didn't either until later. So it's pretty
No.
impressive. Good job.
So don't forget I wrote this 3 weeks ago, and so it might be slightly out of date, but I said, what are Elon Musk's intentions around Twitter? And they did say that Musk will reinvent a new social media platform which actually will outrun Twitter over time. So I'm wondering if he's going to completely transform Twitter, and that might be what the new social media aspect of it is.
Mm.
And it's probably going to be a lot more bells and whistles on it, maybe, you know. Um, then I asked, is Musk working with the white hat or black hat military? And this is interesting because they said both. But again, they said it's like I was explaining before. He likes to strategically know all the angles of the project, like the SWOT analysis I was explaining, so that he can make a plan.
Yeah.
And I asked them
Just to add to that,
yeah,
when I was in the CIA, we would literally have terrorists giving us information, and they would go back to the front and they would work with their terrorist buddies.
yeah,
So I mean, you have to sometimes work with the baddies to get information.
yeah. You sometimes have
just
to.
as long as it doesn't, affect lives, because there were times where it got a little sketchy, and then relationships had to be broken. So I think that, I mean, look at everyone that we meet. Not everyone is perfectly good in our consciousness. You have to be like this. I'm very open. I know there's a lot of people that are pretty sketchy on certain levels, but I I can pretty much hang out with anybody. I've hung out with terrorists. So it's something that you can do. And it's because I think ultimately everyone's good until they really seriously prove really otherwise. So and there's levels of consciousness there as well. So I give everybody the benefit of doubt. I think unless you do something horrifically wrong, then you're pretty much given a fair shake, just like anybody else, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I did actually ask them to give me a quick SWOT analysis on Musk. And they said that his strengths at the moment was that he's obviously got a large following, he's got good leadership, that he's innovative and a humanitarian. They said his weaknesses potentially could be the money that he needs, like the cash flow or the investment, which with the size of the projects he's looking at, that makes sense. It's not necessarily going to be as easy as him just maybe pulling money like that, as far as I'm aware. His opportunities are that he's obviously in an expanding market. This social media platform market now for truth is growing. And the threats were that he might be seen as a monopoly. So, that was just a very quick overview of what a SWOT analysis looks like. And obviously, if you were doing it for a business, that would be pages of things and much more detailed. But that's kind of how they do it. Then I asked, is Elon Musk going to be part of the True Social, which she just mentioned? And they said that Elon Musk will work separately to True Social app, but will be part of the True Social movement. And I said, True Social movement, like, what's the True Social movement? And they said that all the white hat media currently being restructured or developed is forming a movement, because obviously we're all joining different apps and we're listening to new channels. They said the Truth Social movement is what it's called when all of us now are going towards these new platforms. And they said as people move to the new platforms, which are uncensored, then a movement of truth will prevail for the people. Hence, this is a movement. It's the Truth Social movement. And they said, so Truth Social, the app, is just really an umbrella term for what they were trying to create. They were trying to create this dynamic of people, like a movement of people. So I know that Donald Trump Jr. has started up an app called MXM. Don't know if you've heard of that one. Have you heard of that one? I can actually show you. I think I've got a little photocopy of it. I can show you. I've actually got it on my phone.
Oh.
So Donald Trump Jr. launches a new, does that say aggregation? Because it's back to front app, MXM News.
Excellent.
So that was on
Wow. Very cool.
23rd of March. I had that on my phone. So I said, is he part of the Truth Social movement? They said, yes. Rumble, yes. The Truth Social app, yes, obviously. Fox News, they said, not yet, but it's in transition.
Yep.
I said, CNN, they said, not yet, but it will be rebranded, repositioned, and it will join in the future. So about a year ago, I did say that I saw the military kind of moving into organizations. And I said, has this been the case? I said, I saw them moving in with the white hats, sorting out the media companies. And it's now starting to show that maybe that's been the case. And they did actually say that the white hats and military have been restructuring the face of all media from the inside out for many years strategically. And they did actually say an example was Netflix. So Netflix gets a lot of attention recently with people saying don't watch it and this and that. There are actually quite a lot of things on Netflix that look like white hat things when
Mhm.
you actually look closely, you know?
Yep, I agree.
So I said the true social umbrella term, will it create a comprehensive media for like we the people? And they said yes, it will, because the strategy has been to come at it from all angles, creating not just new platforms like Telegram, but to restructure the existing media from within. And they said that white hats were positioned some time ago to do the groundwork, in these media companies. So I think over time, especially at the moment, it just seems to be rapidly becoming clear to me that there's people in there that are changing policies and getting things out to us.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I can see little bits of it coming through. That's my intuition that they're taking over, slowly starting to take over. That those platforms. The
Yeah.
MSM is pretty much 99.9% at one time. I would say it's probably closer to 85% now. It's really shifted quite a bit. There's different digital news sources like we just
Mm,
saw. You know,
mm,
so I think as we move forward, that's going to continue to shift. Now, a lot of
yeah.
people say there's going to be that 10 days of darkness. I've kind of gotten away from that. I think that if they can come in and basically, use the media sources, which most people have followed for so long, and they trust those, I think that's going to do the job. But maybe there still needs to be a 10-day of darkness type thing. We'll see.
Yeah. I did ask about 10 Days of Darkness a few times, and
Yeah,
I've always got that they don't really want to do that if they can. It's not really they could do it if they wanted to, but it's not something that they're intending to do right now. But it might have been
yeah,
something they were thinking about some time ago. But I think as
yes,
this plan is sort of moving along, they're kind of thinking, oh, actually, it's going okay. We might not need to do those drastic things, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Then I was asking them about this Pi phone that's supposed to be coming out later this year, another Elon Musk branded
Mm,
uh, technology. And I said, is the Pi phone the Q phone? Um, they said the Pi phone is a new quantum phone which has been invented by the military,
ooh,
and Musk is the front man. So again, there's another military technology coming through.
mhm,
Um, And I said, so Musk again is being like sort of like Steve Jobs, and they said yes. And then I said, are all the technologies being brought forward? Are they all military, or are some of them Musk's? And they were saying, obviously, the ones that are already out were Musk's, but the ones that we might be seeing coming faster and faster through the system, um, they're the military bringing the technologies through that have been hidden.
right.
And so once again, Musk is the front man for it. And they said he's the front man so that these hidden technologies can be brought in free of politics.
Mm,
Because again, they mentioned to me that Elon Musk is apolitical and only wants to serve humanity.
mhm,
And they also wanted to explain that Starlink is not just like the hub in your home. I think yours is called Skynet. But the Starlink hub when they talk about Starlink, they're not talking about your internet in your house. They're talking about it as a concept. So they're saying Starlink is like the umbrella term for all technology linking together in the future to create a worldwide network of digital communications for money, health, transport, education, and security. And I said security question mark. And they said Starlink will allow borders to be opened with free flow of movement by the people. And I think you and I talked about that about 6 months ago, how we
yeah.
saw that maybe there'd be less policing and military intervention because the system eventually will be able to manage the movement of the people. They're saying that the world was not invented with postcodes and borders, and so this new system will allow more freedom of movement. They're saying Starlink is a concept to bring peace to the world through connectivity. And I said, connectivity, what do they mean by that? They said the Starlink integrated system of communications, transport, banking, education will bring power to the people. It will bring people back together. And so it's a system designed for humanity. And I said, how important is Elon Musk to the White Hat military strategy? And they said, Elon Musk has been and will continue to be a key player for the military White Hat team. And so I just wanted to check again, did Elon Musk ever intend to work with the Black Hats in order to go against us? Did he ever intend to do that? Did he ever intend to go on the side of the New World Order? And they said no, that he actually finds the whole idea of the New World Order, like their plan, abhorrent. And they said beyond words, like it physically sickens him. They said it physically sickens him that humanity could become enslaved by such an abhorrent system of control. They said again that he's a humanitarian and that he wants the world to be bright, not just for his kids, but for like everybody. It sounds a bit like a song, but you know, if that's how he really feels, then that's how he really feels, and that's what they're saying. They also said that he's involved in a project called Adastra, which is a new education platform which he uses for his SpaceX employees. And basically this platform, which I think they're going to broaden out for everybody eventually, it's where children can ask questions and learn from their own natural aptitude, rather than it's like a problem solving education rather than them being told how to think.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that AI in and of itself is evil, but I think AI can go both ways, and we can control how AI develops in the future. So I think that the artificial intelligence, like kind of maybe what you're talking about there, is where any individual can come and interact, like we can do it now with our phones and say Siri, you know, blah blah blah, and they bring and we get answers. I think that's going to be the same thing for educational systems in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I said, will it be openly revealed in the future that Elon Musk has been sort of like the front man for the military to bring these things through? And they said no, that we have to remember that Elon Musk is in fact a genius in his own right as well. So there are multiple projects that he's leading of his own accord. But they said that the military are involved because, again, they're providing the production and the strategic infrastructure behind the scenes. So it's like I was saying before, they're a team. They both need each other. So he might be coming up with ways to bring these technologies through and helping them with the design and the innovation. But then you actually need someone to make the product and to get it to market. And he doesn't, I don't think he has on his own the infrastructure to do that, especially when we're trying to do it for the whole world. So they seem to be agreeing here that the military are involved in helping him. And I said, is Elon Musk valued highly by the White Hats military? And they said the alliance works side by side with Musk, and that in some respects, Elon Musk does have the final say and is respected. Thought that was very interesting. Now, there's something here that's a bit controversial, which I'm going to say, and I don't really understand it yet, but I'll just let you know what they said to me. I said, is Musk working with Trump? And they said no. And the reason they gave is they said Trump is no longer the front man for the people's movement. And I said the front man. And they said Trump was only the catalyst to get this movement sort of going for the public. And they said that now other members of the Trump family are being moved into strategic positions in order to take the plan forward after the midterms in 22 and into 24. And it's interesting because I saw a vision probably about 6 months ago now of all the Trumps kind of walking together like a team, all in their best outfits. Like they were all walking with a purpose towards something.
Hmm.
And I think this is what they're talking about. I think they're all going to merge together. They're all going to come out as a team of Trumps. And it's going to be this new system of politics that we're going to see in the future. I think they're going to be involved in it. They're already involved in it, but I think we're going to see them stepping out like into the light, if you like.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that Trump is going to be completely the man. He never was, the man. There was always obviously a big movement behind him that was giving him cover, giving him advice, giving him information, and so forth. So now that Trump has stepped back, it's kind of, as time goes on, and you called this out very early on. It's kind of it's getting harder and harder to see him really taking the lead again,
Yeah.
because there's so many, like we're talking about, there's so many other factors that are starting to exert themselves into the presence of everyone, the view of everyone. So, and they become um, more dynamic, because Trump was a dynamic individual for most of his life up to the point where he was elected. And then now that he is no longer in the forefront as he was, now there's a lot of focus on him, because we've heard of like attacks on him and all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I've been kind of trying to condition people that, because you never know, because they really have come after him hard to take him down.
Yeah.
There's been
I
many,
know.
many attacks, and I think people have died in his place, unfortunately. So I've been trying to prepare everybody that it's not all about him individual. If he goes away somehow, don't get sidetracked or lose your focus. So that's good that you bring it up. I've been trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I think we'd all love to see him be the guy, because he's done a great job. But maybe he's not, and if he's not, then be flexible with that. And because his whole family is like extremely gifted, like you're
I
saying.
think that it's not so much that he's going away.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like and I think you understand this as well. It's just that he won't necessarily step out as a president again, but he's still working very hard for all of us in
Absolutely.
a different capacity.
Yep.
So, because his job, don't forget, is that he's a businessman, and a
Mhm.
businessman normally runs it, makes the policy and the strategy, and isn't necessarily the person that stands at the front.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have a person that's a spokesperson for the company.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think
Good
that
point.
he will
Thank you.
definitely still have involvement, but he might not be the person that we see standing as a president. Will we even have that label anymore? We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Because as the government process devolves down, like we're hoping it will in the future, how they're sort of explaining it to me for some time, we won't need the roles in the same way anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more about, it's not that he's gone away or he's not doing anything. He's just got a different role.
Yes.
And I did actually ask, is President Trump the leader of the White Hats? Um, and they said no, that position has recently been filled by a woman. And I said, is it Melania Trump? Because I've got a strong feeling that, Melania is going to step forward in the future with a more prominent role.
Hmm.
But they've denied it at the moment. So that doesn't mean it's a no. That means that maybe they haven't decided yet, or it's not that we're not perhaps supposed to know yet. So sometimes they deny me things.
That's amazing, because you said quite a while back that a woman would come forward at some point, not necessarily Trump, and then
Mm,
maybe Trump would come in after this woman comes in. So
yeah.
that's great insight. Now I know that we don't have much time, and your insights are absolutely incredible. You can go deep down these rabbit holes, and I know you cover some other things about the quantum financial system. So I'd like to get a little bit into that before we spend all of our time. This is all fantastic. I would love to like just do a show on this, and you've pretty much done a show on this right now.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
and deeper than what I've seen you do on some other channels. So that I love that. Thank you, because you're obviously
Okay.
quite deep in all the stuff, because you do the research, you go deep like I do in a lot of this stuff, and you look
Yeah.
at a lot of different things, and sometimes it takes you a while to come up with this stuff. So one thing that you were talking about, I heard on I think it was Nicholas's channel. You were talking about the quantum financial system, and how there's kind of like a lot of things that are already involved that are kind of already doing that quantum financial system, but we haven't really seen it because it's hidden from us to a certain extent. But if we just look a little deeper, we can see that. Now, I think the Starlink has it will play a part in that. I think that the cryptocurrency, as we're seeing them now, will be backed, like you said, by gold, silver, precious metal, so forth. Every one of them, or they won't be able to continue. They just want. They have to have some kind of substance behind them, and that it'll be instantaneous, because all the wars throughout time have been about, a lot of time, almost always money control. People didn't have enough, or they were like, you didn't have enough food or something like that. So that's that started war. So this particular system can end that completely around the world. So that's very, very insightful. So what were your insights on that? I heard a few of them are quite amazing.
So what got me, I didn't actually intend to channel about that. I'd actually been speaking about Jack Dorsey to them, and they had told me that Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk were good friends, and that they are very much sort of crypto evangelists. And I've got this feeling that those two are involved in something to do with the currencies that are coming as well, like Dogecoin, etc., might play a big part coming forward. And I think it's already registered and ready to go. Now, I'm not a crypto expert, so I just started asking some questions to try and understand it for myself. And I'm happy to sort of let you know what I got, if you want me to just say.
Yeah, just roll with it.
But
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
But we've been hearing a lot about these CBDCs, which stands for the central bank digital currencies. And I've just heard that in the UK, Rishi Sunak has just announced it about 2 days ago. And I just heard before I came on with you that so has Macron. Macron's just won the election in France, and he's just introduced this new central bank digital currency. It's just been announced on the news today. So it seems that that's cropping up a lot everywhere right now. So I wanted to know, is this central bank digital currency, is it white hat or black hat? And I was actually really surprised, because they said that the central bank is now gold-backed currency, and it's nothing to do with the Federal Reserve. And I said, so is the central bank a Nasara bank? And they said, yes. And I said, so is it up and running yet? And they said it is. It's already up and running. And I said, will the high street banks, are they going to collapse now? And they said, only those who have not been signed up to the central bank digital currency under the quantum Starlink system. And I said, when will the new currencies under JASARA be available, to the masses under this new system? And they said that they're already available as different types of cryptocurrency. So, I don't understand all the crypto market, but they're basically saying that the system's up and running already, that it's a white hat operation, and the way that we're going to police it is what I've been saying for some months now. We've been waiting for people to sign in to the Starlink, and the Starlink is more than the hub in your front room. It's the whole system of registration. So all these people around the world with their central banks have got to sign in to the procedures and the policies of how to operate it. And they have to operate it in a way that's for freedom and for peace of their people and their country. And if they don't, then they can't run these CBDCs. And that's what I think this means. And this has only just come to me the last few days. I don't know what you think about that, but they're saying that it's going to be backed by gold, and it has to be licensed. And we had that executive order, didn't we, back in March, that we saw Biden signing on March the 9th. And it was called the Executive Order on Ensuring the Responsible Development of Digital Assets.
Yep.
And there was a 120-day time limit on it. And that was on the March the 9th. and 120 days takes us to the 7th of July.
I remember that, Michelle, and I was like,
Yeah,
you know, I guess it's not all bad things are coming out of this government. So that was very surprising to me. So there seems to be like we were talking about before if you could be a fly on a wall and see what we talk about on the other side, it would be amazing
yeah,
to you. So we were talking about some ideas that, this is all the white hats. So basically we're going to put on a show so people can it's going to be baddies and goodies, and everyone gets to like talk it out, because I see in the chat everybody's blowing it up in the chat. It's really good. There's good chat going on. We need to have the chat. We need to have the discussion. Some of it's good, some of it's a little out there, but it's always good to have that chat, and
yeah,
because it's stimulating that. So
yeah,
you look at Brandon Biden, how whatever you want to term him, he's stimulating some conversations, and he's
yeah,
stimulating some awakening. And in that, there seems to be some good things going on that we're like, because I saw that and I was like, what? Like that was
yeah,
good. What's going on
yeah.
here? So they're sneaking through some good stuff.
But then we have to think, who's controlling Biden anyway? Is it actually what we think, So there might be
Sure.
something deeper to that going on.
There you go.
He might be working for the white hats.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he is a white hat. He might be being made to work for them, but we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's those types of executive orders, because obviously in different countries it'll be called a different thing, that document. But I think that is what the licensing has to be country. And I think that's what they were trying to explain to me quite some months ago now, when they were saying we're waiting for the countries to sign in.
Mm,
Um, and that what we're also waiting on, of course, is that will be the centralized part of where the money works. But then for you and me to get the money working for us, we need to have these quantum phones, which are encrypted. And, I don't think they're made yet. I don't think there's enough of those. They're probably made somewhere, but there's probably not enough ready yet for us to be able to have the quantum laptops and the phones and the digital wallets. And these wallets all have to be, they're telling me here, they all have to be, the crypto on this CBDC system all has to be backed by gold,
mm,
and it all has to be licensed under one of those agreements, whether that's an executive order or some sort of digital agreement in each country. And then it has to be signed in to the Starlink like that. It won't be allowed to go into the system until each country adheres to the plan of how it's going to operate that system. And that's how we keep everybody from being controlled. Because even though the system is centralized above us, the technology above us is centralized, the way that we pull the money down eventually will be within our control, and they won't be able to see it because it'll be encrypted on a quantum phone.
right. Very good.
Because everyone's been saying, oh, this just sounds like New World Order.
Mm-mm.
But it will be, we will be in control of it. And I mean, do you think right now that they're not in control of what you're doing? They can't see what you're doing right now. How do you think money works right now?
Mm-hmm.
We're being
Exactly.
watched right now. If
Yeah.
they wanted to shut your bank right down right now, they could,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um,
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. I think that because I just saw a show yesterday where Musk and Dorsey were talking quantum crypto and Dogecoin, like you're talking about. It was very interesting show, and they also talked about how a crypto wallet, because you have complete control over that, and it takes away all of the control from the entire, if we can call it whatever we can call it, the negative banking system, whatever that thing is. At some point that flips and starts to work for us, I think, at some point. And then because there will be transitions and a lot of stuff. We'll see some of that. Not all of it's going to fail all at once. So I don't believe. So we'll see a little gradual movement to these other
yeah.
cryptocurrency type things. So that'll be interesting.
I said, which cryptocurrencies can we trust actually? Because it's hard to know. It's all very new to me. I don't really understand it. And they said you can trust any crypto that is backed by the central bank digital currency, because It's been backed by gold, and it's going to be licensed under the quantum system. So this is where people are getting confused and thinking it's New World Order. But
Mm,
because it's backed by gold and it's got to be licensed to operate in a certain way, i.e. to give you freedoms, this is where it's different to the New World Order. And where I think the other thing is, I've thought that for a long time we've been told there's like two systems running, and we don't know if it's the New World Order going to get in first or us. And what they're explaining to me is there is no New World Order system. The White Hats have done away with all of that.
mm,
They've got this one now, the CBDC, and the White Hats are controlling it for some time. And it's just about, we're waiting for the quantum technologies in order to bring it to the people. So
mhm,
the delays with all of these financial things that we keep seeing, it's not about there's going to be a go date at 120 days, or a go date when the Queen dies, or a go date with this. I don't think it's about that. I think it's about, it's already running, and we're just waiting for the technologies to be available so that everybody can get on and start using it. And then it will naturally just start becoming our day-to-day way of dealing with our day-to-day lives and paying for things. That's how I
yeah.
think it's going to work.
Mhm. So the Starlink system will be part of that, and transactions will be near instantaneous going through the Starlink system. Everything encrypted to an
Yeah.
unbelievable level, quantum level. So it's going to be a very secure system. Won't be able to be manipulated like it is now, and no one gets their finger in there and gets a piece of that pie like a lot of banks and so forth do right now, or
No.
governments. Most of the governments are just big corporations that are criminal organizations. So I think as this quantum system comes in, it takes away all their power, and
Yeah.
that collapses. That alone will collapse many of these systems. So it's going to be interesting going forward.
I did actually ask about Dogecoin. I said, would that be part of this CBDC, the central bank digital currency? And they said, yes, it's already registered.
Hmm.
And it's backed by gold and assets, they said. And I said, assets. And they said, yes, the Dogecoin or the currencies can be backed by gold or assets, which can be things like silver or diamonds or precious metals. So it seems like Dogecoin is already part of maybe what that order was specifying, where you have to be licensed to be in it. You can't just have cryptocurrencies or anywhere and everywhere. They've got to abide by certain guidelines and be backed by gold and licensed.
Hmm. That's good, because I'm heavily invested in Dogecoin. I just felt that it was the right thing to do. So that's good. Good
Yeah.
to hear. So other things that I heard you say before, and we'll just cover this and it'll be the last thing because we're just slightly over an hour now.
Okay.
You had talked about it's kind of starting to filter in, and I know that I know of people, personally know of people that have had their their credit completely, as far as their debts completely wiped, no longer owe anything, and they know people and other people know people. So I think it's coming in waves, but it assists those people that need it the most. And I think that some people are already benefiting. There's going to be like this system that takes care of pretty much everyone, and you'll work from that system, and it's not a new world order system because everybody's going to jump on that, of course, but
Yeah.
it definitely is going to benefit humanity. And again, it's our quantum level consciousness. We determine how this goes going forward, and that's the important key. What
Yeah.
what what did you already see as far as like or did you ask a question about that as far as like, I think there were people that were extremely impoverished, and people that were or people that were very handicapped or something, and then
Yeah.
they started working up
So
their. Mhm.
so what I've been seeing in the UK is that in the UK we have a system called Universal Credit, which is a government system which was set up as a platform for many years, and it helps people that are disabled or lone parents or on low income or for whatever reason. And of course, when the C-19 hit, a lot of people had to join that system because they had no income. So they went on to universal credit, the platform. And I'd said about 2 years ago that I thought they would use that infrastructure in the future to bring in something called a universal income for everybody. So we would all be given an income just for being a citizen, not to be controlled, not anything like that, because Elon Musk himself has actually said in an interview that in the future, people will, when more robotic things come into being and more things are done on an automated level, there won't be so many jobs. So you will need to be looking at how you're going to look after the people, how they're going to make money, because they won't need to go to work because there won't necessarily be the jobs there for them to do. And so he was talking about the fact you might need to bring in some sort of form of universal income for people anyway, just because of technically there won't be enough jobs for everybody.
Mhm.
And I was saying that what I've seen in the UK recently is that instead of people that are disabled having to keep going through this rigorous testing situation and keep applying year on year for conditions that aren't going to get any better, actually, and in the past it's been seen that it's quite, I think it's wrong that if people have got a condition that where they're deteriorating, that they have to keep proving that they're sick. And now they've stopped that, and they've actually put the levels of the disability allowance up to a maximum amount for everybody.
Mm.
So you don't have to keep proving year on year, you know, that you've got MS or some other illness that's not
Mm.
going to be cured.
Mhm.
I mean, it might be with the med beds, who knows? But they seem to be bringing that in as for the most vulnerable people first. And I wondered if this is the way that they're edging this Nosora Jasora into the arena of the
Yeah.
public
Mhm.
by doing it layer with the most vulnerable people first. And apparently they're doing that in Australia as well with something called Centrelink, where they've topped up the amount by, I think it might be more than another $100 or whatever the currency is. So you know, I always wait on people to tell me in the chat or to email me what the situation is. This is how I learn about it. I wouldn't necessarily know. But I think that those infrastructures that have been used for years on the old system, while they're all set up and running, I think that's the systems they're going to use to get the money to people in the future. And I think eventually we'll all get a basic income through that system.
Yeah. There's countries in the Middle East that have done that for many years. They get incredible wealth from the oil industry, and everything's free pretty much. And they actually pay their citizens like some crazy $50,000 a year per citizen.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
pretty impressive. But they've done that in Alaska as well. There's no state tax in Alaska. They earn a lot of income. I don't know if they still do this. I remember many years ago they would pay each citizen like $1,000, $1,500 a year. So
Yeah.
there are systems like that out there. I think they'll be easy to integrate those going forward, depending on where your status is, what you're doing. If you're Elon Musk, you're probably not going to get any money. That's to be expected. But depending on where you're at in society, like you're talking about, if you need a little help, I think it should be that way. I think
Yeah.
across the board, people can be helped, and it's not that hard. If they stop the wars that they do to keep enrich themselves and take us down and control us, if they stop some of the things that they do, as far as like healthcare and stuff like that, I think that a lot of things would be wiped out. Debts would be wiped out, easily wiped out. Universal healthcare, universal education, universal anything you name it could easily be implemented throughout the world.
Absolutely. So just one final thing for you, Michael.
Oh, thank you.
Just because I know you like, we both like Trump.
Yeah.
I wanted to find out what the role of Ron DeSantis might be in the future.
Okay.
He seems to be doing a lot of good things at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And they said to me that in the new government setup, Ron DeSantis is going to stand shoulder to shoulder with Donald Trump as an equal, and that they will, excuse me, they will oversee the new setup together, and then other countries will mirror their devolved and new setup for the people. So I just thought I'd just finish with that because
Oh, that's beautiful.
that's very interesting, isn't it?
That's a very fine finish. Thank you. I love that. Living here in Florida, I have high regards for DeSantis. He was a lawyer in the SEAL teams. I was a Navy SEAL at one time, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
good to see, people that work hard and do really good work. And leaders, like you say, leaders, it's tough sometimes to make those decisions. I mean, you're doing it. You make some tough calls out there, and you get a lot of flack for it. So I appreciate your work, and
yeah, I do get a lot of flack.
and sometimes you're sensitive about that. You shouldn't be, because you're just doing what the universe is guiding you to do. So it's been beautiful.
Well, I haven't been called a clone yet, like people have been telling
Like me.
Yes, people have been telling me you're a clone, Michael.
Yes, I'm a clone. But the mustache, the mustache, Michael, is a clone. When you see no mustache, that's real Mike.
Yeah. Oh,
All right. Thanks so much, Michelle.
Thank you for having
you're an
me.
angel, and
Yes.
everyone loves you when you come on and talk. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.